Okay, here we do. We got a beautiful group here today of fasters, detoxifiers, and people that just want to upgrade, enhance, and optimize. It's July 1st, 2019, and we're going to go through what we usually do on every retreat is to be able to have people take the mic and just tell us about yourselves, where you came from, because a lot of people traveled a long way to come here. And you didn't come here just because of nothing. You came here because of some concept in your mind that you thought that you possibly may be able to alleviate, and or maybe you can reset. So it's interesting for other people to watch these films, because that's, like I said, why you guys are here is because you got inspired maybe by someone else's upgrade, enhance, or optimize. So today's the first day, and we just had a little bit of cacao for people watching the film, and this is the beginning. We usually do a cacao ceremony in the beginning because this is your last bite of food, and at the end we do another, what I like to call, I used to call it the roundup, but everybody says don't call it roundup because that's Monsanto's. Yeah. So we'll just call it the, we're the collective where everybody's going to share here. And tell me if you're
circle, let's call it that.
Yeah, tell us if you're maybe been a vegetarian before, or a vegan before, or just a standard American diet before. Have you ever done any fasting before? And really, why are you here? And what do you expect to get out of doing anything here? It's sort of nice because a lot of people have these same ideas in their head, but they don't have the courage to be able to just make the leap and even try one day's worth of fasting. How many people have ever fasted for at least one full day on water before? Okay, so how many people have not? Okay, so, and if you have or you haven't, it doesn't matter because you're in a good environment here. It's really easy to fast when you have a good group. Okay, and it's really hard to fast when you try to do this on your own because it's just pure torture. You're not eating, okay? You're smelling really good foods, whatever it is. You're in your old mindset. You wake up in the morning, you may have a cigarette, cup of coffee, go to the bathroom. It's just a program that you do every day. So here, you're brand new. Everything right now, your programs, you fly over, right? You left your place. You come here, you don't know where you're sleeping, what you're doing. The roosters are waking you up at 4 in the morning. Okay, sun comes up over the ocean. Okay, so you got a lot of different things that are just reprogramming you right now. So this is really nice for everybody just to be able to think, okay, that you're out of your home right now, and everybody's on the same path right now. It's all brand new. We'll go over as we go through with this, but the first 3 days is the hardest 3 days, and that's it. And there are a lot of things that you can do within those 3 days to make it so you could get over the hump. And once you get over the hump, you just get more energy. You feel like, shoot, this is easy now. And you'll find out some people won't even feel anything within the first 3 days. And some people, well, they're going to need maybe a little encouragement, sometimes just to be able to say, because a lot of people, they think that if you don't eat for 3 or 4 days, the old school, you're going to die. Okay, and you're going to find out that you can go easily 7 days, piece of cake. Okay, so in my mind, I always try to tell people, some people want to fast 14 days. Okay, it's in your mind now, guys. Just do it a day at a time, every day, and you just go ahead and go. And all of a sudden, you meet 7 days, and you go, shoot, this was easy. Maybe I'll try 8. And every time you go 1 day past like the 7th day, that's like doing all 7 days over again, because that's when the deep cleaning, the deep cleansing starts to come into you. Okay, so on the 8th day, it's like doing all that 7 days as concentrated just on the next day, boom. On the 9th day, it's the same thing. So, there's, like I said, there's lots of different ways to be able to fast. And, we use a variety of different therapies with your fasting. So it's not just fasting, but remember, you're wanting to detox and get this stuff out of you. And once you get it out of you a little bit, okay, then you have a chance, remember, on refeeding to get some stuff back in you that you need to be able to really super nourish yourself. So I just wanted to welcome everybody. And, there's lots of things to learn here, just how to use the equipment, the saunas, the steam room. And there is a little couple secrets to everything so you don't get hurt or anything. Make sure no one touches the piggies over there because they love me, but they like to bite other people. And just to go ahead and remember, we're a group here. In this group, once you go ahead and help each other, it makes it so easy to do. And when you only have 3 or 4 people, it's hard. You get like 7, 8, 9, 10 people, it's really easy. It's because everybody's doing, like I said, the same thing. So just want to, like I said, welcome everybody here.
You might want to mention about the waterfall so everybody knows.
Well, we'll get into everything, but the waterfalls, like I said, is something in the future here that you want to go down and you want to go ahead and experience this and try to stay in for a good, 20, 30 minutes if you can, because cryotherapy is one of the things that also helps you. Cryotherapy is cold therapy to make you so, sort of like gives you a ton of energy, okay, when you're not having any energy inside your body, because you're down there with all this oxygen. You're down there with this really clean underground spring water, like I said, which is pretty miraculous to have that in your backyard. So, you don't want to ever go down there with bare feet, because people do cut their feet down there just on a rock, okay? And, Hawaii is dangerous, is because, there's a lot of just unseen things here, okay? That, there's not like fences and, you can fall down a cliff and a lot of different things. But we've got this place pretty safe over here. But you'll find out in Hawaii, there's a lot of people that die here when they come here. Okay, you see a lot of crosses on the roads, and you just see a lot of people dying in the oceans and stuff like that because they're not used to it. So remember, you're in a different place here, so sort of be careful, that's all.
And always go down to the waterfall with your partner.
Yeah, you always want to go down with someone else too, just in case. But yeah, we'll get into all of those little pieces there. And everybody will go down to the waterfall if you want to go at the same time, so you can get shown how to, you go on the water is one thing, but if you want to get a massage by the waterfall, I like to use gloves so I can hold on to the rocks. And I let the waterfall really get you really good, and it'll give you the best massage in the world. So we're going to hand this around, and you're the first one here.
Uh-oh.
Yeah.
The other time it went that way.
Yeah, I know,
So now I'm
we tricked you.
Hi everybody, my name is Eva. I am from Atlanta. I am originally from Russia. Been here about 20 years. Came here in 2000. 2000. Here we go, so almost 20 years. And I've been, since 2000, I've been very active growing up. I'll try to kind of sum it up pretty short. I've been doing all kinds of things, from cross-country running, got some awards, did gymnastics, was an excellent scholar, kind of must study, must achieve, must accomplish kind of thing. So then came to America, loved it, absolutely fell in love with the country, with the freedom, especially being a woman. Russia is great country. However, America is America. It is the greatest country in the world. I never thought I'll say that, but I am saying that after being here almost 20 years. So if this YouTube video makes it to Russia, I'm still saying it. All my Russian friends will ban me on social media, but... So I've been, and you mentioned about once you're an athlete, how it feels. So I know how it felt. Then I was doing modeling, I was doing promotions, was doing real estate, was doing all kind of things. 2007, I was doing beauty pageants, won a couple of them. 2010, beauty pageants again. Always worked, just because things were tight financially. And I brought my family here, so it was on me, pretty much, because I was the one who was working. Supported 5 people at one time for a while. So 2010, I'm burning out. I am pretty much collapsing. I am laying flat for a while. Started going to different doctors, actually in the car. Nobody could figure out what's going on with me. They diagnosed me with the chronic fatigue. That's it. They can't diagnose me with anything else. I am laying down, can barely get up, use the bathroom. So that's how my journey started, with the regular doctors, with the alternative doctors, with all kind of doctors. So then after a while, I'm feeling better. After I've probably been in bed for about a year, somebody said I'm just burned out. Maybe I was just burned out. So after that, it started going up and down.
Did the doctors put you on medication and all that kind of stuff too?
They wanted to, but as soon as they put me on antidepressants, it got horrible. I felt like I was dead. Like I could sit and stare in the same spot for hours. It was terrifying. Everybody who saw me on that, they gotta come off that. So immediately came off. Couldn't handle it. Any other meds, they couldn't do anything because they just say extreme fatigue, nothing. try Red Bull, try this, try that. Didn't really do much. So there was really nothing with the meds except for antidepressants that they would suggest. They would have, the alternative ones would have different supplements, different supplements. At one point I would have 20, 30 different kinds of supplements to take. I took 2-3 times a day, some with food, some without food. It was a nightmare to just even keep track of that. And it still wasn't doing anything. I would go through months. I ran out of it. I wasn't financially very wealthy, so at one point I couldn't even afford to keep up, but I wasn't feeling better. Long story short, moved to Atlanta. I traveled all over, lived in LA for a while, lived in Vegas. Got married. 2014, I'm having one child. 2015, having another child. High-risk pregnancy. I'm pretty much back in bed. And since then, it kind of went downhill again. If I show you my papers, I showed some to Dr. Nick, I have probably 5 to 10 pounds of just blood tests with all kind of stuff there. You're looking at me, everybody, you look okay, you're fine. Well, to get here, I went through 2-3 days in hyperbaric chamber. We go in this oxygen chamber, so I'm okay, I can move, at home, I'm laying. Most of the bed, I lay flat in bed. Sometimes I can't get up to use the bathroom. It's that bad. On top of a bunch of other symptoms. So chronic Lyme, 4th stage, which is the last stage, adrenal fatigue, Epstein-Barr, leaky gut, I'm just talking some of them. Adult mono.
These are all things that the doctors told you.
Yeah, that's the ones that I'm diagnosed with.
So they told you with
blood tests.
Lyme's disease?
Yeah.
Okay, so everybody knows what that is, right? That's when you get bit by some type of a bug, tick, who knows what, maybe even mosquito.
Even mosquito. I've never been bitten by a bug, by the way. I've never been, not a bug, I'd say not by the tick. I've never had that classic Red Bull sign from the Lyme. Never had it. So they're saying it's possible that there is a guy named Dr. J. Davidson. He's on YouTube. He's one of the pioneers with the Lyme. He says that the research he went through is that it's possible Lyme is transferred even through mosquitoes. So
and also from people, too.
Well,
blood to blood. It's just blood. It's just changing over. It's something that jumps in your system, and it can go ahead and transfer a lot of ways that no one really knows about.
Chronic fatigue, heavy metal, poisoning, radiation exposure back in Russia when Chernobyl happened, extreme high lead, radon, mercury, aluminum. The list is long. There is lots of stuff. And then my back started to give up. 3 or 4 discs degenerative, and one of them ruptured. Ruptured means broken. So back is always hurting. Like I asked about CBD. CBD is one of the things that's helping. Now, chemical sensitivities. If I take anything for pain, it makes me sick. I can faint, I can throw up. I can't take meds, even pain meds. So liver, kidneys, lymph system, stuck.
So as you become a chemical sensitive person, all pharmaceuticals.
So then I can't take anything. So then if it hurts, I either try something alternative or just pretty much it hurts. So and then of course emotionally too. I got to the point of being depressed. I got to the point of just not good, really not good. Just burned out completely everything. And then I watched your videos and lots of people inspired. And I've been to so many doctors. I had so many blood tests. I showed him. They took so many blood tests that my both arms, you can't find veins there. You want to see?
Over how long of a period did you get all those blood tests?
Over years. Every doctor wanted to do blood tests, of course. So it got to the point that, can you find veins here? It's hard to the point that...
Yeah, you got a little baby. Yeah, they were poking you to try to find veins.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It got to the point that my last 2 visits to the doctors, they couldn't get...
Well, they're all hard too.
They said they are all scarred.
They're scarred.
They couldn't do it.
She's got calcium from so many times you get poked. You can feel the vein is supposed to be soft. It's hard. You can feel it's got like rocks on it.
So they couldn't even poke me to get the blood test. I'm like, okay. They're like, so you're shutting down. I'm like, what do you mean shutting down? Like dying? What do you mean shutting down? I'm okay. I'm fine. I'm 40, okay, I got 2 little kids, Anyway, so this is I don't want to say my last hope, I don't want to be dramatic or anything, but I I tried so many things, and I hoped on things, and then I hoped on people, and I hoped on practices, and it didn't work. None of them worked. Some of them worked a little bit, but it was still back to square one. So now I'm here. I'm scared. I got mix of emotions about everything. I feel more comfortable with with all of this, with every hour, pretty much. I feel right now just good. I feel I can have energy. I can get up. I can walk. I can move around, and it's like such a blessing. You don't feel it or know it until you can't, until you lay in bed and can't move. You know how it feels with the chronic fatigue? It feels like you took a bunch of muscle relaxants and sleeping pills. Like you want to get up, but you can't. Like it's not working. The body is not listening. It's not a good feeling, especially having it so long and having no answers.
Well, especially you were an athlete before. Doing
Right.
all these other things, so you really know your body.
Right.
And now it's not.
Like I wanted to move, but it's not moving. It's like, what's wrong with me? So that's what I'm here, and I want to feel better. I don't want to say I want to feel better 100%. I want to be cured. I want to be, just back to athlete and all of that. I want realistically the best I can better.
So over the last month,
what
how
I'd
you
like.
felt? Same? when
I
you
was
came
in
here?
bed,
Okay, there you go.
laying in bed. So
All right.
thank you, everybody. I'm sorry it was long, but it was really long.
No,
but
everybody's got a story.
I wanted to share where I'm coming from, and I want to be encouragement for somebody who've got all kind of health issues and health problems, and who I hope this will be very motivating, especially seeing the improvement and the progress. So
Can I
thank
add
you.
something? I think one of the most tragic thing that is happening is the medical community. They're taking the hope from people.
Right.
That is probably the most tragic thing, because your body is created to perfection and it can heal anything. But when you go somewhere and they give you a diagnosis of, I don't know what's going on with you, you have to be taking these pills for forever, you're losing hope.
Right.
And that in itself causes so many problems.
Right, because psychological.
Yes.
It's like psychologically there is no hope.
Yes. And you're finding a spark and you're feeling better already because you're finding hope.
Well, thank you. That's good psychology right there. All right.
And just real quick, people talk about taking medications. Remember, just change this word. These are petrochemical potions, petrochemicals. Okay, they're not natural. They do accumulate in your system. They don't really break down because they are not organic. They're inorganic chemicals. And inorganic chemicals always accumulate in your system. They may accumulate in your spinal cord. They may accumulate in your tissue. They may accumulate wherever they're going to go. So when you're going to start this fasting process, a lot of people, we noticed here, have been taking. How many people aren't taking medication here? Raise your hand. Okay, so how many people are taking some type of medication? Okay. So how many people have never taken medication in their life? When you go to the doctor, not for a snivel, but I'm talking about you went there and they kept you on a prescription. How many antibiotics have people taken here? Okay, these are all the things that you're going to try to repair. It's because your gut, remember, is what controls a lot of things inside you. So, yeah, let's pass this over. This is, of course, Dr. Nick. Dr. Nick's a water fasting expert here. He's done lots of people. This is a hard field to get into because it's clinical. You got to just do it one-on-one. So we learn every time we do a group. Dr. Nick's been doing this for a long time. He's a miraculous long-time faster, too. I couldn't fast as long as he's done. But you only fast when you're sick, too, like this, is because this is when you're digging deep. You're uncomfortable, so what do? You try to find something that's going to make you feel more comfort. So everybody that's here is not really in their comfort zone. You're out of your comfort zone, which is good, but that's the reason why you came here, is because, okay, you weren't comfortable with the way you feel. So, I like to go ahead and find people, groups that just want to upgrade, enhance, and optimize. They're easy. We can give them all like heavier doses of this. You can do heavy duty exercise, whatever, because they're already doing good. So this is a perfect group because everybody's got a little tweaks they need to go ahead and tweak. They're not like all athletes and you guys, what are you doing? This is all wimpy, or this, because a lot of people are at different levels. So this is a really, really good group that I see. Which is, of course, not easy to find, a group that's compatible with each other. So it's nice.
Okay, so Dr. Nick, last name Tancheff, Tancheff. I believe it's Bulgarian. So I got sick at the age of 21. I was in university in my last year. My aspiration at that time in my life was I wanted to work on Wall Street. So I was at the University of Notre Dame, so that was a very predictable outcome for me to achieve that goal. But I got really sick. I also had been diagnosed with mononucleosis just prior to that. I had also come back from a trip where I had gotten a chronic bacterial stomach infection. And then just going back to the normal college life of just, eating, the worst stuff ever. Drinking the worst stuff ever, smoking the worst stuff ever. And one day my body just completely broke down. I had chronic fatigue syndrome. That circumstance where like you need to get out of bed, but you just can't. Every time I needed to continue to study, I couldn't, and I had this brain fog right here on above the right side of my forehead, and it was always there, and it got a lot worse every time I was exposed to, and at that time I had no idea, but I started to realize it got worse every time I was exposed to a chemical cleaner like a Tide detergent. I used to love Tide detergent. I thought it was so amazing. This was the best detergent anybody could ever create on the planet, and those those dryer sheets and all that. I could not tolerate any of those things anymore. All that stuff, spraying the cologne on my neck, oh my God, putting deodorant under my arm, all that stuff made me very sick, and it would make this inflammation, it's basically brain inflammation, So when your body can no longer detoxify everything, your tank is full, and eventually your body starts sending it to the brain because the liver can't deal with it and your other organs can't deal with it. So I had the multiple chemical sensitivities, the environmental illness, all these things as a 21-year-old. In the Midwest, it was you're a loner, so that of course led me to be depressed. And of course want to go off the planet, because what are you going to do as a 21-year-old? Nobody can understand any of these things. You go from doctor to doctor, and all they can figure out is give you some medication for your depression. Well, of course you're depressed because you're sick, and nobody knows why you're sick, and they don't think you're sick, but you're sick. Yeah, so that was my story. I slowly, as a result of the influence of my mother was more holistic thinking, and so she gave me the encouragement to seek alternative medicine. And so it was, a long process of, going to different alternative medical routes, till one day leaving my job because after I graduated, I wound up getting a job working in a bank, and made some of this stuff called money, and decided to retire at the age of 22, 23, something like that. And I went to this place where this guy had studied about raw foods, and when people came to his place, it was a place catered to people who had multiple chemical sensitivities. So when you went to his place in the Ozarks in Missouri, you were totally protected from because for me, I was so sick from all the chemicals and pollution and the fumes, the exhaust, like everything made me sick. So I just needed to go to a sanctuary where I wouldn't be exposed to all of these things. And he was the one who first introduced me to the idea of eating only raw foods, which at that time I thought was really a bit insane. But then when I thought about it, I thought, well, our Creator who created us created these foods in their raw form, and it started to make sense to me. And then he introduced me to the idea of fasting. And so then my first time doing a full day of water fasting, my energy was coming back. I was feeling better. I was like, everything was getting better inside of my body. And that led me on a journey to just experiment more and more with fasting. So then I started to do longer fasts. I started to do all kinds of different fasts, there was Ann Wigmore, you'd read her book, and she would encourage you to do like 3 days of wheatgrass juice fasting. And then you would read, Paul Bragg and his method of fasting. Then you'd read Arnold Ehret and his more extreme methods of fasting. And then you would read about Herbert Shelton, who was had been monitoring supervised water fasting for 50,000 people, and then that led me to realize that there were other doctors that were supervising water fasting in a contained environment in what is known as fasting. At that time, they would call them like fasting institutes. So then eventually I fasted in a fasting institute for 30 days where my blood work was monitored. And the purpose for why we do blood work is, number one, is clinical stability. Number two is so that you can see the amount of inflammation being eliminated from your body, okay? It's being eliminated from your organs, your liver, your kidneys. It's being eliminated from your arteries, from your vascular system, as you start to see the hardening of all of that coming out of your body, so that you can see that all of this inflammation is leaving your body. We all should know that chronic inflammation is what leads us to chronic disease. Okay, there are other diseases that are a result of deficiency as well, but in general, most diseases are a result of chronic inflammation. So fasting is the most effective way to be able to eliminate inflammation from your body. Okay, from a clinical perspective, you will immediately be able to see that inflammation is leaving your body. Okay, and so fasting should not be looked at as the cure-all. What it is it's eliminating the inflammation from your body so that your body's organs can function without the burden of all the inflammation. And therefore, now your body can heal itself. It can correct itself when it's not burdened by all of the inflammation inside of your body. Okay, and that part, healing yourself, takes time. Okay, fasting is also known to be a good cure for depression because it eliminates inflammation from your brain, just like it eliminates inflammation from all parts of your body. And the important thing to realize as well is, let's say you have a very good result with fasting. Don't look at anything in this world as I'm fixed for the rest of my life, okay? Yes, your lifestyle and living in a healthy manner after you do fasting is important, but even like, no matter what our life is, we're all in some way or another living in this world that is, we must admit, is not the perfect world. Okay, there's imperfections in this world, so therefore, you know, it's realistic to imagine you will probably want to fast again in the future, because you'll want to maintain as much health in your organs as possible. So that is that's probably too much of a story, but I just want you to come into this environment with a realistic perspective of what you should want to achieve in your body. What you want to achieve is eliminate as much inflammation from your body as possible. Okay, during these 14 days when we do the blood tests, you know, we're still seeing more inflammation eliminating, you know, after your 2 weeks. You know, so it's not like you're totally completed. There's still more work that needs to be done in your body, but this is a good way to eliminate a lot of garbage. Okay, and therefore, when you're unburdened with a lot of garbage, your body can respond much more favorably in your future.
I have a question. Is it possible to remove the viruses like the Epstein-Barr virus?
Oh, that's a great question. So when your body is is unburdened by all of the additional toxicity, your body is more able to adapt to what you're being exposed to in terms of pathogenic organisms, quote unquote viruses, because your body but when your body is burdened by so much and your organs are so weak because it's just constantly dealing with all of the other problems that have resulted in symptoms, your body is more prone to be susceptible to all these different things. You know what I mean? So in answer to your question, you're allowing your body to be stronger so that you're not, you know, you're out there in nature and you get a tick bite, but you don't get Lyme disease. You know, I mean, most of us have gotten tick bites in our history. You know what I mean? I mean, I know I lived in Minnesota. I mean, I lived out in 60 acres of land. We came home with ticks inside our skin all the time.
Yeah, hundreds of them.
Right? You know, our dog, you know, we'd go through and, you know, find so many, you know, we pulling them out, you know, but yeah, you know, it's because our bodies have become so toxic that we're not even able, you know, whether we get a tick bite or not get a tick bite, we're getting Lyme disease, right? So, and all these parasitic infections, et cetera, you know, and all of these things are unnatural for our bodies to not be able to deal with, right? We have a specific type of white blood cell that responds to parasitic parasites, you know, that come into our body, right? But when we're not strong enough to be able to deal with them, then they become problems, you know? They multiply, right?
Water fasting, the more water fasting you do you go deeper in to release the viruses? Is this
So as you get more and more days into water fasting, your body is going deeper and deeper into deeper layers, yeah.
So it's water fasting and like dry fasting, that should be like an intermittent, ongoing process, right? Not just a once.
Well, it's just also doing the collective therapies. It's the sauna. It's all these little pieces that, you know, once you do fasting, that's great. You're not putting in all this irritational stuff that makes inflammation.
Right.
Your body has a chance to, you know, remember, when you eat food, 80% of your energy goes towards just breaking down your food.
Yeah, so fasting, you give your body a physiological rest. Your organs are resting. The digestive function is resting, so your body is able to now go to those areas of healing that it never has a chance to do because every day it's digesting food, and that's taking all of its time, plus all of the the additional toxicity that's already there to begin with. So you have to go into fasting to be able to give your body a chance to be able to go to these areas of healing that your body needs to. Yeah. So it's fasting is detoxification, elimination, repair, and regeneration. Okay. So you're just dealing with detoxing and elimination, and then your body is getting into the deeper layers of being able to now have time to repair these areas. Let's say there's an ulcer. Let's say there's somebody who has a tear somewhere. Let's say it's a tear in her disc between L4 and L5. How many people don't have tears, little tiny tears in their connective tissue, in their disc spaces at C6, C7, L4, L5, L5, S1. We can do MRIs on everybody, and almost everybody is going to have little soft tissue tears. The connective tissue gets weaker as we age, right? And all of that results in more inflammation. She's feeling low back pain because of all the inflammation into those areas to deal with all of these little tiny micro tears of connective tissue, right? And all these areas where things are bulging into nerve roots and causing more compression and all that inflammation, and then causing symptoms down the leg, down the arm, all these things, right? You got to get rid of the inflammation first, and then your body can heal itself. It's the same thing in my chiropractic office. All my therapies are around getting rid of the inflammation. So they're like, oh, my fingers are numb down here, and it's coming from here. There's a neck. So you get rid of all the inflammation here. Their neck pain goes away, but doc, I'm still feeling the symptoms down my arm. I know you are. Right. Because that's going to take time. That built up over time. There was so much compression there before you even felt the neck pain that by the time you started having symptoms down your arm, it's been a long time. Whoa, geez, and then they think about it and they think, oh yeah, I really, at the end of the day, been kind of uncomfortable, for years, So you get rid of the inflammation, and I said, and just give it time. Those symptoms, now that we've gotten rid of the compression up here, give it time, and those symptoms are going to recover, but it's going to take time. The most important thing is we get rid of the inflammation first.
But the viruses themselves, those are neurotoxic. Those cause a lot of symptoms in the body.
Of course.
And so what I've learned over the years, hearing from different doctors, naturopathic doctors, medical doctors, it's like you can never get rid of the viruses. They lay dormant, but you can never really get rid of them.
And you can never get rid of the disease either. You can't ever get rid of the chronic disease. It goes into a state of remission because your body is now healthy enough to say, you're over there. Now I live free of you. You know what I mean? But if that chronic disease that you had before, if you do all the things that led to it to begin with, it's going to come back again. You know what I mean? That's why you always have to be on top of it. You have to be above it. You know what I mean? The same thing with the parasite therapies that we do here. Your job is to not necessarily be 100%, I'm never going to have a parasite in my body ever again. Your job is to get it under control by wiping out as many as possible so that you're not symptomatically overloaded with them. Exactly. So like the different therapies that we do for basically eliminating and killing parasites are super effective. But there's always got to be some amount of maintenance, and that's why in this program you'll learn so many different ways to keep the burden under control that you'll next time, and hopefully you'll already be on top of it before symptoms come because you're thinking ahead of the game versus waiting for you to be just as sick as you were before. And unfortunately, that's a lot of people who come into fasting, they wait until they're so sick,
It's not waiting.
But you should also do fasting before you feel really sick,
Preventative medicine. It's funny that he just made it perfectly.
Because it's actually easier for healthy people to fast than it is for sick people to fast, you know? Like she asked me, do we have to do the blood work since I'm so healthy? I said, well, in this case we do, because honestly, I don't know you that well, but so I can't, you know, so it's still super effective. And for me, you know, like, because you're here and we're caring for you, you know what I mean? Most likely you probably can, you know what I mean? But a sick person, no, we gotta have some sort of clinical understanding of what's happening inside your body, so that, but yeah, typically a healthy person is gonna be able to fast a lot easier than a sick person. Okay, I talked way too much. Hopefully I didn't bore you too much. Here you go, Frankie.
Okay. My name is Frankie. I'm from Kansas City. And I came here because I've been running from doctor to doctor. And unlike you, I can't think of your name. Eva. They didn't test me. I asked them to test me for Lyme disease, parasites, different things. I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's because I'm black. I had to have cancer according to them. And that's what they kept trying to diagnose me with, cancer. And I just wouldn't accept it. So I've been on this journey, and I've been researching, and I've been listening to Dr. Cassar's videos. My kids listen to them. And she discovered your retreat. She like, he has a retreat, Mama, you need to go. So that's why I'm here. And I'm looking forward to spending this time with everybody.
So what kind of symptoms have you had over the last,
Well, they originally diagnosed me. I've been running from doctor to doctor, tell them something's wrong with me. They tried to diagnose me with irritable bowel syndrome. I told them, I don't have no irritable bowel syndrome. So I kept going back and forth, and then I found one doctor that she did the scope down your throat, found I had H. pylori. So then I went back to my primary doctor. He seemed like he was upset because I went to the GI clinic because he wouldn't do nothing for me. So he gave me the prescription, and he gave it to me wrong, so I take the pills in the wrong order. So when I go back to the GI clinic, she tells me, he had you take these pills wrong. It don't work. But then I keep having these problems, and so I don't know, she wouldn't test me no more. But she did all these tests to see if I had bacteria in my stomach, and I did. And she was gone when I came back. So they sent me to the doctor. And at this time, I was getting a hospital discount, Truman discount. And I went to see the doctor, and they was like, you're supposed to have bacteria in your stomach. And they was basically saying, we're through with you. We're not going to test you for nothing else. And I look at him, and I say, well, I guess I got to go get some insurance, huh? And he gave me that look like, yeah. So that's what I did. I went and got me a job that had insurance. And when I got my insurance and it was active, I went back, they did the test. The test down your, I can't think of, my mind don't work good sometimes.
Endoscopy?
Yeah, they did that, and they did the colonoscopy because I had two sisters diagnosed with, one had colon cancer and one had cancer in her smaller intestine. She died. But they found the H. pylori still there. So after that, they kept going. Then they checked my leg. I tell them I'm tired. I couldn't stay awake. I drive home from work like this. I remember going to a union meeting. I slept the whole meeting. I didn't see anything. So I go to the doctor, chronically tired. He sees this knot on my leg. He x-rays it. He tells me I have cancer. They send me and get the biopsy, the MRI. And this is what got me. They said it's a white gel substance. And that just didn't sound like cancer to me in my leg.
especially where it's at?
Yeah, and then I started researching, and I found a parasite that gets in your leg, your bones, and it resembles that of sarcomal cancer, and a lot of doctors mistake it for that. And that's when I started researching the parasites, but they don't believe me.
Wow.
I tell them, test me for Lyme disease. I'm always getting bit by a tick. I'm always outside. They wouldn't test me for that. They say I'm crazy. They try to send me to the psychiatrist. And then I'm still tired after all this, and I go back to the doctor. He said, you have to have some kind of cancer. So he says, when the last time you had your lungs scanned? I told him, I think I had them scanned a couple of months ago. So he scans them again. He calls me a week later and says, you have lung cancer. I said, oh, it's probably them parasites I've been telling you about. One thing about the Cancer Treatment Center, I was due to go up there. So they told me to bring them tests with me, and I took the tests, the scans with me, and they looked at them. They said, we see something peeking out your lungs. So they put the scope down there, and they saw this growth covering up my airway 90% of the way. So they froze it, they cut it off, and they burnt around, hopefully so it wouldn't grow back. So one thing I can say about them, they weren't up to rush and do the surgery on me. They were keeping an eye on it, because they were my third opinion. I went to them, and they said it wasn't cancer. It was a tumor, but not cancer. And they were going to keep an eye on it. So they wasn't rushing trying to cut it. And the other doctors were, 3 hospitals I went to, they were all like, if you don't go get that surgery on that leg, we're not doing nothing for you. That's the attitude everybody had. So nobody would do anything for me. Test me for parasites. Test me for Lyme disease. No.
Heavy metal poisoning or anything.
Anything. Nobody would. It had to be cancer according to them. And one doctor wanted to cut up both my legs to fix one. I'm like, no. And I think now if I would have had that surgery, I'd be crippled in a wheelchair, and I would have died just from being in a wheelchair.
So how many rounds of antibiotics have you been on since you've had all this? They must have been doling out and said, here you go, take this, or want to give it to you.
Mm-mm. That's what I'm telling you. They wouldn't do nothing for me. The Cancer Treatment Center gave me some pain pills. Now, I never had pain until they did that biopsy on my leg. Wow. That's when the pain came in after that. The doctors in Kansas City wouldn't do nothing for me. They wouldn't give me no pain pills, and that's how I survived like the first 3 years of my job is pain pills. I wouldn't have been able to go to work because I had that chronic fatigue.
Yeah, the pain pills sort of gave you a little upper.
Yeah, right. They helped me make it through.
Then you got addicted to an opiate.
No, I didn't get addicted. That's why I tried to tell my daughter thought I was. I tell her, I'm not addicted. I need these to go to work. Oh, I'm not going to have insurance or nothing. But when they I started getting better, I guess, because I juice. And I fast without knowing it, because on my days off, I'll be down and out, and I just drink water, and I don't even bother to eat sometimes. So I do it without meaning to. Yeah. But I juice a lot, and I try to eat healthy, and it don't sound so healthy anymore. But I forgot the question now.
How many, well, if you had an H. pylori, they usually give you a round of antibiotics.
They gave me 3 pills. Well, yeah, they gave me a round for that. Mm-hmm. But that didn't work. That was prior to all these diagnoses. Mm-hmm. Now, since I've been diagnosed with the cancer, all they given me, the Cancer Treatment Center gave me some pain pills. The doctors down here, all they tried to diagnose me with, they tried to give me, went to the GI clinic. They said I had gallstones. They said they were moving. So they did MRI.
They wanted to get you somewhere. Someone, he go to a mechanic and he's looking at you going, oh, let's see if we can replace your alternator, or maybe it's your gas pipe. No, it's your carburetor.
They tried. Now they gave me, every time I went 3 times in a year's time, the lady gave me some antibiotics, but I wouldn't take them because I know antibiotics aren't good for you.
Anti-life.
So the 3rd time she gave them to me, I asked her, I said, now what are these for? She said, you don't have to take them if you don't want to.
Why are you giving it to me? You want to try it?
I was through talking to her. I didn't say nothing else. I wanted to tell her I didn't take the first ones you gave me, and I'm not going to take these either. Now, they tried to do, and then I have acid
reflux. Imagine how much money this doctor makes. They make $300,000 a year. Exactly. You're struggling to earn a living on at a manufacturing company.
Ford.
I mean, Jesus Christ, and fuck.
Everybody's bankrupt.
Yeah.
300,000 a year to like guess. Try this. Try that.
The health care
And
is
this is a
good
big
at
problem.
Ford.
Look, you got all these doctors now. They're not really private practice. They're GMO, you know, or not GMO, HMOs. You know, where you can go to this person, participating physician over here. Then if you want to see this guy who's a specialist over here, you got to do this monkey race all the way up and down the line. Okay?
Yes, I couldn't get to him.
And they figure after that, they say, you know what, he's the specialist I need to see, but I got to see him and him and him, and then beg this guy 5 times to get a prescription to go see this guy. And then he tells me he can't see me in 2 months.
Yeah.
It's a
No,
three-month circus.
he wouldn't see me at all. I tried to get to the infectious disease clinic. He told me I had to prove I had parasites before I could get there.
Wow.
Send your poop to the veterinarian clinic and tell them it's your dog. That's what you do. You tell them it's your dog, and you say, I just want to check and see if I have eggs in my poop. They're not going to tell you what kind it is. It's just a basic parasitic test. So we've done these a long time ago. You send it to the hospital. I used to work at the hospital. You send it to the hospital. They don't even check for that kind of stuff unless it's very specific. But looking for one thing or 2 things that somebody's thinking. But if you send your poop to the dog man, okay, the veterinarian.
The dog man.
The dog man. Yeah, the horse, remember, horse worms, cow worms. These guys are into, because every animal, you worm your horse, you worm your dog, you worm everything. What makes you think that you don't have it? Yeah. Okay?
That's what I said. But you know what? They're not checking dogs like that. I've had 2 dogs die in the last few months, and now my last dog I have, she's sick, and I'm like, is the dog food killing them? Because I had switched to dog
Full
food.
of glyphosate, full of the worst.
So I
worst
quit.
stuff, full of BPA in the cans and whatever it is, ground up kibble. Yeah, go to a place where they make that stuff.
Well, now I've been cooking her food.
Or just give them
And-
raw chicken.
Rice, I'm scared to give
Just
her raw
raw
food.
chicken bones.
I am
What
so
usually, look,
scared.
this heals up any dog. Usually, it's just by giving them the food that they used to eat. They don't eat cooked food. They don't eat all that
They're
garbage,
giving-
soy and wheat and corn.
They're
So-
giving the dogs now a flea pill, and that pill is killing the dogs.
That's what I give them too.
Tumors, cancers. Wow.
But what if I was thinking maybe that I've thrown them one of my bones and they've caught these parasites from me? Is that possible?
Usually, the dogs are going to give the parasites licking their rear end, drinking out of the toilet. Okay, they're eating a bunch of crappy food.
You're not going to give a dog a
Okay,
parasite.
so the dogs usually will pass,
No.
or animals will pass to us if we're weak. Just like
They're
Dr.
tougher
Nick said,
than
if
you.
your immune system's strong, your body puts up a defensive system they can't anchor. They may try to get inside you, and then your system beats them up and says, get out of here. But if you're weak, then they can colonize inside your system only
And
because
then they
that's
start
what they
making their
do.
babies.
Yeah, that's what they do.
And then they start
Well, they
pooping,
got
and
in me.
then all that poop,
It's the poop.
from the parasites inside of your body, because they're growing and pooping, growing and pooping, growing and pooping. The poop is making you more sick than they are. You know?
Yeah, I've experienced. I've been through a lot.
You know, one thing,
Last
you know,
4
we're
years.
starting right now, remember, you guys are going to start a oxygenated water. Have you started yet?
No, we haven't talked about
Okay,
that.
so you're going to start that coming up, and this is primarily to get out the parasite poop in your blood. It's because it's odd in there right now. You're not eating right now, so a lot of the yeast, mold, fungus, candida, all these little things that process sugar, process carbs, whatever it is, remember, everything has to process it. It's not you that processes it. And just like Dr. Nick says, now it poops inside you, and this poop starts to go ahead and cause you dysfunction because it's actually the worst poop in the world as far as being toxic. So the H2O2 drink that you're going to have is it is a emulsifier, not emulsifier, it's basically an oxidizer of parasite poop. So we'll show you the therapy on how to do this. This is very effective while you're fasting. If you do this while you're eating, what are you doing? You're not doing anything. You're eating all this food, right? And then everything that has to process it. If it's raw, basically the parasites don't eat that. But if it's cooked, something else has to go ahead and break that stuff down. And then usually the byproduct is poop, urine, feces, whatever it is. And if it builds up in your system and you can't get it out because your kidneys are plugged with lead and plastic and everything, this is where a lot of people get skin issues and depression and their hair starts falling out, whatever the case may be. So remember, you're reducing your poop of parasites in your system right now. Once you get past the 7 days is when you start whooping butt on the parasites because your intestinal tract's empty now. because you can't really work on these parasites until you get all the poop out of there and get most of the debris out of there. And there's certain things that you could do while you're fasting to see if you can get more out, get that stuff out of you. So, you know, this is super, like I said, it's fasting is one piece, but then again, you can turn, you know, a 7-day or a 14 or 21-day fast with collective therapies. Talking about, you know, maybe the most effective way to be able to get things out of your system, okay, and not get sick. Because a lot of people stop fasting, you know why? Because you don't feel, I gotta stop, I feel sick. I'm at my limit.
Die off too.
Yeah, you get die off, you get all these things, and or you get wind up getting, so the sauna is super important to do. Remember, every time you urinate, try to go ahead and do what? 20 more sips of water, 2 in the morning, pee, beep, 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 every time you pee, because you want to constantly see if you can get this stuff out. The sauna, remember, constantly push this stuff out. So, you know, and it is effective. It takes 3 or 4 days for you to just get on this routine, and once you get on this routine hangs with you at home too. You know, to keep on flushing a little bit at a time and making sure that you, of course, don't cause, like Dr. Nick said again, inflammation back into your system. So, anyways, we'll go over, like we said, oxalates, phytic acid, okay, lectins and things. If you have stomach problems, that was your number 1 complaint, right? Before?
There.
Number 1 starts, and usually all the other things just start to collectively go down the hill.
Yeah.
Usually everybody has problems with their gut, and then it just starts, I got headaches now, I got depressed now, my toes got fungus. Well, a lot of it starts right here.
Yeah.
Can we talk a little bit about H. pylori, because that's what I...
No, we can in different ways, because there's different types of things that you can take once your system's dry to go ahead and actually super cleanse inside there. And it does wipe out a lot of good stuff too. That's why you're going to replenish it with, you know, you're going to take a rototiller and you're going to scratch out all the weeds in the pasture. And maybe there was some good stuff you wanted to keep in there. Then what do you do as a farmer? Throw some good seeds in there and you grow the things you want to grow instead of all the weeds that you have growing in your belly now. So that's what you're trying to do, is rototill the pasture right now. And then if you don't reintegrate this type of good, you know, the good, remember, it's bacteria is in your system. You're made up of 10 pounds of bacteria. Now, is it good bacteria or is it pathogenic bacteria? Stuff in all bacteria, remember, no matter what it is, they all have a process of poop. But the good bacteria basically are breaking down things to help you, and the bad bacteria, they got like really smelly poop in the toilet. Okay, it's a whole different deal here. So, you know, once you get this level of toxicity out of your system, you'll see that, you know, now it's time to do more thinking about not being able to put this back in until you get down to where you have pretty much bulletproof stomach. So you could take a little chemical now and it won't bother you. Because if once you're at the edge, like Dr. Nick, me too. I mean, I can talk about my story for about an hour. From 2 herniated discs in my back to whatever the case may be, you know. And if you're sick, you have to experiment yourself, because no one else is going to help you. They can manage you. They can help you get out of a little trough, but it's up to everybody to figure out, how do I change my oil in my car? It's pretty simple. You may be able to do it. If not, well, you're going to have to learn how to do it, because no one's doing it for you. So it's the same thing. So anyways, you're going to start taking some EDTA, some different types of parasite reducers, okay, some different types of oxidizers like H2O2, some other types of herbs, if you feel you can, to be able to go and get deeper into the small intestinal tract where all the critters live. And then hopefully get your cameras out, take me some pictures of some trophies that come out of it. You've had some beauties. I mean, I used to go ahead and show everybody my trophies in the bag and go, whoa, you must be sick. Yeah, you got them too. Everybody here, I guarantee, has the rogue parasite in it. If you think, not again. You're just being not ignorant. And this is just sort of for me, you know, I mean, I've seen, like, everybody here, I bet you, everybody, once I check you, everybody has tinea versicolor skin fungus. Everybody. Okay? And it shouldn't feel weird about it. Everybody has parasites. Well, no shit. Everybody does. Everybody has heavy metals. Remember, you eat a credit card's worth of plastic a week. If you're an average person, a credit card's worth of plastic a week, and you think you're going to get that out with just water fasting? Remember, there's certain therapies that break down plastic, certain therapies that are going to chelate out some maybe mercury, cadmium, aluminum, lead, certain therapies, insecticides, pesticides, herbicides. These are organic, you know, organophosphates, all different types of phthalates, plastic, chemicals, and carpet and stuff like that. So, you know, once I got up to a certain level of toxicity, everything bothered me. I don't care what it's smelling. Marco and I remember going on a hike. Man, it made me sick. Because the lady walking by smelled whatever perfume, and I could smell what shampoo they're using. Tide.
Tide is terrible. Stuff is nasty. Yeah.
Okay, there we go.
We have to get around the room,
Can I
otherwise
ask-
we'll be
Yeah.
all night.
Next.
Hi, I'm Joyce. I came here at the recommendation of my personal trainer who knows Dr. Cassar. I'm here to re-energize, and I live here on the Big Island. And
Tell them what you do, because no one will guess. No one will guess. I guarantee you.
No, you told us. I was surprised.
yeah, you told. Yeah, I'm a helicopter pilot here on the Big Island, so seen a lot of amazing sights over the almost 20 years that I've been here.
Especially last year with the volcano.
Oh yeah, that was pretty amazing. Yeah. Right now it's kind of quiet, so.
And she's under, remember, heavy attack with electrical magnetic fields. Okay, those helicopters, they have huge alternator systems in there, all wireless. So I got the thing around your head all the time, okay? I mean, so everybody gets hit with different, let's say Steven's working with wood and he's cutting borate wood all the time. Okay, or wood that's, you know, you're a carpenter. And let's say you're a painter and you're breathing phthalates and all this oil-based garbage. Okay, let's say you're just, let's say you're a model. You put on so many chemicals on yourself to pretty yourself up, okay? Let's say you're just a mom, and you're just, you know, doing what every other mom does, okay? And has no idea that poisoning maybe your children with food. So there's so many different layers to this. And what do? You just have to back up and say, okay, I gotta do this a little different now. So, yeah, anyways, this is a good thing for everybody to see that everybody's here with a different age, you know, and everyone's got different problems here. And everybody's here for a different reason, but I can tell you this, everybody's here to change your oil. Everybody's here to reduce their oxalate levels down, their parasite poop down, and miraculously you'll feel much better and you'll want to continue doing a lot of this stuff only because it did work. And that's what too. So, keep going, Jessica.
Yeah, well, here to re-energize, to keep flying and to keep up with him.
How long are you guys staying here?
Well, for now it's just 1 week. We'll see
Oh, okay.
after
All right.
that.
Okay, I'm a personal trainer and a functional movement specialist. It's almost been 20 years since I've been in the military when I was active duty during Desert Storm. And I was asked as a trainer, I was studying to be a sports psychologist. And as I was going through school there in Munich, and at the base I was at we had a bunch of people that put on the Fat Boy, Fat Girl program in the military. They have people that go in and they go in good shape, and then they go to midnight chow and morning chow and chow all the time. So what I ended up doing is develop a fitness system, which works with a band and a ball system. And I call it a system because the programming is different. Just like Dr. Robert Cassar has different programming, different protocols. I was introduced to him via a couple other people that came to my academy saying, well, you should check out this guy. He's the bomb. He's your same size as you. And I'm like, yeah, but I don't look like him. I don't got the vascularity. And he's got his hair. I'm like, wait a minute. I got to relook this because here I thought, I know it all. Now, Joyce will contest. I'm pretty much never wrong. But I go by, listen, this is the thing. People are going to laugh about it, but the reason is I'm on the make sense, whatever you want to call it. I wasn't even going to run for mayor and governor on the make sense talking. If it makes sense, we'll do it. Well, that's not going to work because it doesn't make sense to run for governor and president because it doesn't make sense. So
It's all nonsense.
it's all nonsense. So you got sense and you got nonsense. I looked at what everybody's doing up here, and I said, that makes sense. Now, me to come up here by myself is not going to make sense unless I have a student, which she's been with me for 4 years as my student. This lady kicks above her head. She kicks, I'm only 5 foot something. She kicks as high as I stand. But she's not 5 foot. You are, right?
No.
No, she's not 5 feet. So what I've done and what I've developed is a system that has to make sense. I'm here because, like I said, my student, and I'm not going to go through it myself. as well as I have a bunch of other students. Most of the people I work with right now are 45 and older. Let's just say, what, 55 and older? Maybe everybody 60? No, we got what?
No,
40?
some youngers.
There's some youngers, but the young ones, the young whippersnapping kids that say they know it all can't last, they put them in the old ladies class and Joyce will beat them up. So I mean, literally she'll outdo them. I'm here for a multitude of reasons. I have a 5-year-old daughter that has a skin condition. I reached out to Robert, to the doctor here, and he's telling me, okay, her vegetarian diet, her mom grew up as a Hare Krishna, they don't eat cows, and they don't eat meat. And the very thing that we're thinking is healthy for this 5-year-old is not working. She's
high oxalate diet.
Yeah. So I'm here to get educated so that I can take care of my own daughter and then educate her mom, because her mom's like, well, if the doctor calls me and says that I have to do it, I have to do it. And I'm like, well, I'm telling you, I listen to what he had to say, but I need to get my mind clear, my body clear, because I hold a bunch of chub. I eat decent, but then I eat sometimes not decent. I eat healthy and I'll eat not healthy. It doesn't do anything for me as far as the activity I do. But I got what I thought chronic fatigue, but then I just think maybe it's just fatigue, because I'm getting beat up literally by 5 or 6 people every morning. They're punching me and they're kicking and I'm running around and jumping. Then afterward I said, I got no energy. It's the latter, it's both of them are happening. So I have to now rethink my thought process. I have to do what makes sense. So you see me here, making some sense out of, okay, this body and that one temple I got to get it back to where it used to be. I used to box and fight for the military, and I said, I'm doing that because it doesn't make sense getting hurt. But I trained a lot of people. In the last 10 years, I've trained a lot of athletes that did a lot of things that didn't make sense. And I was even telling them, well, stop eating stuff you have to cook. Eat stuff that's raw. Well, it's probably the worst thing I told them to do, because now they're eating it and they're like, I don't feel any better. So this is an education process for me that's crucial for me to go through now. To not only help my students, help my daughter, but the people that know as a master trainer, as a functional movement specialist, and I do what we call yogaism. I took and made this because I don't like to be on the floor. I get grounded, but then I want to stay on the ground. So the stretching and posing that I think that I should be able to do without having extra pain and have some flexibility, that's a direct issue of what I'm consuming and how my body has a toxicity to a multitude of things. So this is going to be a good learning experience for me, and a good able to see where my energy goes, because you gave me chocolate. If I eat chocolate, if I took the water you gave me, I get all hyper, even more so. But fasting is probably going to make me have more energy than I did before I started, which, great. Everybody's saying you're going to be, how would you say, run down? What was Jeff saying? Jeff goes, you might need to take a time off. You can't be training us. I said, you might be in worse shape than you are now, because I beat this big guy up. He's 6 foot something, and he's got some weight on him, but he's doing fabulous. However, I need to make sure that myself is fabulous for my students, and as well as, like I said. So.
And this is typical. Look, anybody who's a teacher, you're a teacher, who works on you at all? You're a teacher, who works on you? Me and you, once in a while, work on each other, is because there's not many people that can work on us, can they? They don't know what they're doing. They don't help us at all. It just hurt us. Okay? So as the teacher or the trainer, who's doing anything to help you? Because you're helping people all the time.
Yeah.
And no one's actually putting back the energy. So that happens to me a lot of times too. I don't know. So you got to learn,
There's the
sort of this balance a little bit.
Yeah, that yin and that yang, it has to be there. I find myself giving, putting out a lot of energy. And then they're like, where do you get this energy from? I said, well, I'm stealing it from you when you're giving it to me. They're jumping around and they're giving this muddy energy. Well, they're giving me pure energy. I'm giving back muddy energy. So I need to now give them back pure energy so they can keep going, because I'll go for 45 minutes straight and we're punching, we're kicking, and I'm at once next student. So if all of you guys were to train with me, I would run through every last one of you, each one of you, 6 minutes of full on, go full blast, and I'd still be standing like, what the heck's wrong? What did he drink? I'm giving him chocolate. That's literally, y'all will go ballistic if you give me something like, well, this chocolate, and I eat slow. I like savor every bite, and I'm like,
Well, that's the good physical stuff you're doing, but what are you doing to clean your filters?
That's exactly.
See, this is the other part, because you
That's
can be
what I
all
need to
physical you want to, and the physical system just gets burnt out. It gets clogged, it gets, mineralized or malnourished, and then all of a sudden your physical system starts to falter, starts to get stiff. You start to go ahead and not be the person that you were just even a year ago. So for me, I hit my wall at about 12 years on a plant-based diet. and I try to stick it out a little longer, whatever, 15 years or so, okay, for me to be able to experiment with being a teacher. Because someone said, no, remember, there's really hardly anything that you can say is true unless you do it yourself. Mm-hmm. If not, it's all, as they say in Europe, poppycock. It's all BS.
Lip service.
Okay, it's all story. It's all story. So your story is to go through this and say, no shit, this does work. And it's easy to do. It's just, you got to sort of like, you fly in no one can fly a helicopter. I took some lessons at first, and it's complicated. No, it is. For you, it's not. But it's complicated, just like anything. But same with this stuff here. It's a little complex, a little bit here and there, but you'll get it down, and you'll feel more comfortable. And it's nice that you got a group of people, because some people go, you go to the gym, I don't want to feel dumb here, or I'm, whatever it is. Everybody here is just learning, sort of from ground scratch anyways. So it's not like, not like you have to compete with anybody. You're just competing against yourself, day by day. And that means you can go ahead and go to the next day. But if you think in your head, I'm going to do a 14-day water fast because she's going to do one, and well, he does it, such and such. That's stressing your mind out too. You just do it day to day, and you go through the protocols, and you do what you can, when you can, if you can. And and we're going to show you quite a bit of protocols. And these are just things that are in your tool chest that you're going to be able to play with, and actually go through the sequence of it, so you know that this does have, I call efficacy. Efficacies, it works in him, works in her, it works in you. How much is it going to do? But it's all works on everybody. Okay, so the things we're giving you, we've been playing around with this for many years, and so I used to do harder things because they're effective, but they're too aggressive for some people. Not a lot of people, but they're too aggressive for some people. So, all the therapies that we're doing now, you start out slow and you work your way up, and let's see how far you can go. Okay, so, yeah, that's good. Next, okay.
Okay, do you insist that I go? Or?
Yes.
Okay. Sure, okay. So, what's the question again?
Why are you here?
Well, where'd you come from? What kind of,
Yeah.
kind of...
Aotearoa, New Zealand. Yes.
Kiwi.
Yes, my name is Anthony Shalenta. I bought myself a really expensive birthday present, and that's what this retreat is for me. Yeah. So I just turned 33, and I'm here to really work some magic. Yeah, body, mind, heart, and spirit. Yeah, I think that it's really the benefits go beyond just physical, and I think that cleansing is really an important prerequisite into like ascending spiritually, and sort of like really what I'm using this retreat for is I'm using it as a mirror. I really like to look in the mirror every day, not just to check my appearance, but more so importantly to really look at the true self, with some clarity, and really see the inner person, who you are mentally, and what is really within your heart, and this is a really good arena for this sort of thing to happen. It's a classroom, it's a school of life, and we really get to be presented face to face with our own baggage, the whole reality, who you are, and you get to own up to your own illusions and perceptions, your own crappy stories and ideas, and maybe things that do not serve you. And I like that kind of work, the inside work, the to really self-development, self-improvement, this kind of thing. But yeah, the physical benefits are really exciting too, and interesting for me. So
what kind of work do you do?
I'm a gardener. I spent the last 13. Well, hey, I quit my job recently, so I'm just a free bird, just flying around on the Big Island. And this.
33 years old. The Jesus that you got a new love.
Yes.
It's the new part of your life that's going to go ahead and flower into the next part of yourself that makes sense. Instead of all the things you did, that sometimes most of it was maybe nonsense.
Yes. I was a Jehovah's Witness for the past 13 years, and sort of, I mean, I learned so much, and we all do on a path, but so I'm really taking back my power, my mind and heart, like 100%, and owning up to all my baggage, and just wanting to really do some good, and really contribute to some real true love and unity on this earth we share. This is I think we're all in this together. Really deep within ourselves, if we can find that. This is what we have. This is what we have in common.
Do you live here on the island?
He has been.
He came from another island, though. He came from New Zealand, right?
New Zealand, but this place is. This is like another dimension. This is truly.
Special place.
This is like a place of living in natural magic, and then it's this arena of synchronicity and bizarre happenings, and I've just completely had my mind blown to smithereens just in the past couple of weeks. I landed here on June 7, and weird weird stuff is happening here.
The people who live here, we know that. That's what it's out.
Yeah, I mean,
Sure, you right.
so there's lots of other retreats out there, but no offense to the other ones, but I just found that Cassar's information, just for me, it's juicy. So I got excited and been following for some time, but I got no expectations either. So I'm just sort of.
Do you have any health problems at all? Because you look super healthy. Everybody does look, healthy to their own effect, but just because you look good doesn't mean you feel good.
Physically, he looks amazing. Good-looking guy.
Thank you. I've got some short-sightedness. I've got some fillings, composite fillings. I've got some toenail fungus.
Intestinal problems at all?
Not really.
It's dysbiosis, some type of intestinal. You don't go to the bathroom, right? You got diarrhea, constipation. You got bloating, gas, whatever that is. Do you have any of that?
Generally not. Generally not. No.
Is the foot being contagious, or should we be?
No. That's usually foot fungus. Usually comes from a cut that you get, and you get it, and it breaches into your. Usually, a lot of people that live on the Big Island or live in a tropical place, what happens is you got to keep your toenails trimmed back really good, because if not, you get fungus underneath the nail, and this is where it starts. It's fungus for your mungus under there. Okay, people walking around on a lot of bare feet. I scrub my feet every day in the shower with this, give you guys my little scrubbers, put a little soap on there, and scrub my toes, my feet every day, because I walk around on bare feet. And also we do have, some therapies for your feet, hands and feet soaking, which is super, super, super effective for everybody. Let's say you're walking in flip-flops full of petroleum distillates. You walk outside on the asphalt, petroleum distillates. You're walking on the carpet, petroleum distillates, especially new stuff, okay? So your feet and your hands, because a lot of people's health, if you got toe fungus, that means your health is not as good as you think it is. And usually when I see people with toe fungus, you got 5 to 10 years before you're gonna start have to dig deep, okay? Remember one of my guys that was working here, Pedro, toe fungus for a long time. I kept saying, hey, it's not on his toe. This is in your blood. Okay, it's like herpes. Just because it comes here, and it's not here. It's in your blood. And your immune system, basically, if you got toe fungus, you got this, you have some type of weakness going on where your system can't say, get out of here. So we can help it along by, making sure that it's sort of like putting out a fire. Yeah, you can blow with it. That can work. Or just put some water on it. Okay? Smother it out with some oxygen. You can do a lot of different things. So, like I said, experimentation is why you came here. But it's experimentation that's already gone through thousands of people. So it's not like you're a brand new experiment. We're just trying out, you trying to go ahead and dose this or do that. So has anybody here ever really done a good parasite deep cleanse before? When you were fasting. When you were fasting. Okay, and did you ever get any parasites come out of you? She got the shake going like this.
Yes.
Why don't you talk for a few minutes too, if
Okay.
Anthony's done.
Okay, my name is Ines. I'm from Panama. And my journey brought me here because my son got diagnosed with autism, my only child. He's now 8. And when he got diagnosed, everybody was sad around me in the hospital, hugging me, giving me comfort, but I had no idea what autism was. To me, I didn't know that he was disabled in the medical field. So I left they kept asking me, are you okay? I'm like, I'm okay, but because I didn't know. Then I went home and Googled it and YouTube it, and I saw the most horrendous things, and I was like, I can't believe this is gonna be us. So I woke up to how disconnected I was, how I lost myself in the process, how I wasn't even a mother, and I allowed that to happen in our lives. And then I started my journey into, okay, let's heal him, not knowing that by trying to heal him, I was gonna heal me. And it's so powerful because it's layer after layer of BS. So I do not believe on any medical testing anymore. I went through all of them to find out 0 parasites all the time, and then I'm going through this fasting and herbs, and I'm pooping all these parasites. And the more I do, the more I know that it's just like a experiment on myself that then I can apply it on him when I understand what's happening. And I'm here for that. I'm here to cut another layer in different angles. This thing align. I'm an intern helping, so anything that you guys need and I can do, I'll do. I'm also fasting, so because you guys
keeping the vibe with you.
Yes, because it's so powerful, So I'm like, I cannot let this opportunity go. We're all doing it. You're helping me, I'm helping you. So this opportunity aligned for me. Thank you, Nick, for considering me. We've been talking about this, and I wanted to bring my son, but this program is not designed for that. He's 8. But I'm like, as much as I can learn, I can bring it back and apply it. Another thing I want to say is that I thought I was healthy. I thought I knew better. And I still don't know anything. And I like Dr. Cassar because he pushes. He's bold. It's like, I'm tired of being babysat. People out there and doctors are there, they just want to keep you comfortable. And this is not a place to be comfortable. I mean, you have to do this. And it's not easy. And I like that he pushes. And it's going to happen because it's going to happen if you want it. And that to me is important because it's just like, in order to grow, it needs to hurt. And I'm kind of here for that pain. It's weird, but I'm here for that pain. And I hope we all, can do this because this is powerful.
It's sort of weird. The more you suffer here, the healthier you're going to get. And as everybody else is suffering, so what? No one got a piece of pie tonight. Does anybody complain? No, no one did. Because no one got it. But, Anthony got the pie. Well, I wanted to eat it. Everybody's doing this. So when you did get your parasites, it's not just the water to get parasites out, okay? And we can try this too. These are herbs. There's different ways we can do this with the parasites. Costa sagrada, turkey rhubarb, different things, and we'll try to see what you can handle. Remember, you know, there's so many ways to go about this, okay? And it just depends on, you know, your ability, you know, to go ahead and try the lower therapies, and then you take more concentration and see if you have a problem with those before we get into the stronger ones. So in the beginning, we're just going to start out with real basic stuff. Let's see, because sometimes some people, they throw up with a little bit of this, or they just have really bad side effects, but most people won't. So if that person has some sensitivities to it, we know we're going to have sensitivities with the other ones because they're way more aggressive. Okay, but remember, it all depends on what you can handle. And then it's good because, let's say Steven's doing this and you're taking the same amount of the same, everybody's doing the same thing, everybody's bouncing off the information with each other. Why is it affecting maybe you beneficially and it's affecting you, I mean, very negatively? Okay, so you can see that everybody's got a little different, and you know, rope parasite everybody has here, and pooping out a piece this big is not the whole thing. These things are about 6 feet long, take 10 years. I can show you if you want. I mean, I have a lot of good videos on all these pieces here. And if you're interested, you can always revisit it and go ahead and bring it up, put a PowerPoint on so you can go ahead and understand a little better. So there may be some things you may want to talk about, you know, in the future here that you're, you know, more maybe wanting to take a look at. Because there's so much to talk about, you know, and so if you guys have something that specifically, and I like to really get into, you know, oxalates we will this time, phytic acid this time, lectins this time, because a lot of people, who doesn't have stomach problems here? Who doesn't have stomach problems? Okay, usually everybody has stomach problems. Glyphosate, atrazine, pesticides, insecticides, herbicides, I mean different types of chemicals from various different types of parasites, leaky gut syndrome from all the different aggravations. Okay, so this is going to help a lot of stuff. But then again, you know, Dr. Nixon, it's not here to heal you. It's here to go ahead and have your body heal yourself. And it does take time. So, you know, everybody, I guarantee you, you know, you should be able to, what types of parasites? Forget the species.
I had no idea, but I knew it was long.
Big,
and
long
after
leaves.
that, I got pictures. I love my pictures because I couldn't believe it, and I knew people were not gonna believe it.
Pretty little girl's got demons in her. Right?
Yeah.
The doctors still don't believe
No,
it.
at this point,
The doctors have no nutritional classes, number one, because they do pharmaceuticals. Parasites. Did you get anything in school on parasites? Nothing. Okay? And it's only all the people in Africa got.
Yeah.
I remember body fat's a parasite. Yeast, mold, fungus, candida. What does it eat? It eats sugar. Okay, the belly sticking out. What's that? Those are category 2 parasites. And they just eat processed foods, and they're worms and nematodes, all different types of creatures. You got category 3, the rope parasite, moves with jet propulsion. Your stomach, burr, burr. You're hungry, burr. Well, you got the rope parasite. It moves like a squid. Takes your fluid and it moves with jet propulsion with your fluid in your stomach. So if you have these symptoms, you know, like the moving, burr, my mom used to say, go eat something. Your stomach's, you know, making all this noise. That's the rope parasite.
Do they give you other parts of your body?
What's that?
Do they go to other parts of your body?
They stay in the small intestine. Okay, you've got breaches, and this is a good question. How do parasites get in your brain? How do they get into your heart? Heartworms. How do these things get in your system? They usually get in through the intestinal tract from a breach in the hull. You've got this tube. Small intestine is where all these creatures live. They don't live in your colon, so you can get colonoscopies. You can put, you know, 3-foot wand up your colon there, and what's that? That's not going to go ahead and show you where all the game players are. They live in the small intestine. They live in food. That's the poop. That's the septic system. That's the end of the road. They don't live there. Some do, hookworms and different things, but you're talking about the ones that process garbage, food. And this is why, you know, raw food is, you know, it's beneficial for a lot because it stops the parasite. They can't eat it. You know, eat 25 raw pumpkin seeds and you'll poop them out. You can check your transit time, okay? Or have 25 pumpkin seeds that you cooked a little bit and they're gone, okay? They have to be processed. So the enzymes inside your system, okay, once you break the enzymes up, your body has a very hard time, unless you have a very strong bacterial load in your intestinal tract, to break down all this stuff. So overloads of certain amounts of cooked processed foods causes everybody to wind up getting dysbiosis. You got all this material sitting in your gut, and now it's a factory to colonize all these little creatures that have lots of babies, man. Their job is to survive, right? Have babies and poop. Not much else.
So every time I eat a handful of pumpkin seeds, it kills parasites.
They do, but that's raw. So anyways, what you're saying is there's certain foods, that parasites are in you that aren't really here to hurt you. They're just processing the junk you're eating. Okay, so if you eat a lot of bread, you eat a lot of cooked foods and stuff like this, you colonize Ascaris lumbricoides, which is just like an earthworm. Okay, you stop eating processed foods, they just go away. They don't even need to die. They don't even need to kill them. Now, the ones that you need to go ahead and do some killing are the ones that suck blood. These are the hookworms, little tiny guys, and you may have 100 of them inside you, each in your intestinal tract. Little tiny things. They crawl up, they get in through your feet just from walking on the ground. So these are therapies that you're going to want to go ahead and do every 6 weeks. Like, okay, you live in Hawaii. When's the last time, and we're going to show you, when's the last time you've ever even looked in there with a nice video camera to see what creatures live in this black mold house? We know in Hawaii, everything gets black mold here. What makes you think that little canal that's moisty doesn't have black mold? Okay, so these are all like little therapies that that you're going to learn, that you sort of like you're shining up your headlights on your car. You're putting air in your tires over here. You're putting a little gas additive to clean out your whatever it is, and this is exactly what it is. There's so many different parts here. So, okay, anybody does get parasites too. Remember, pictures. It's a beautiful thing to show everybody your demons. And once you see one, then you're not a believer. You know. Right now you believe you have parasites.
Yeah.
You believe. And once you see it.
That was me. I believe, but I didn't know. But once you see one, war is on. You want them all out. You're not eating my food anymore.
Look, for about 10 years, 5 years, I had the parasite collection. That was just my big thing. It's killing. I'm a hunter. Okay, if it moves, if it bleeds, just like the Terminator, I can kill it. And I used to show people all my parasites.
Yeah, people didn't want to see it, of course, because they were appalled because they didn't have any understanding of it. And this guy's running, chasing people down with this murky-colored water brown with parasites in it. He's running out. You gotta see this.
With vodka inside to keep them so they're sort of like in bomb. And these are pieces of all different things. Who knows what they are? They just were inside me elusively. Yeah. So the ones that suck blood, these are the ones you gotta kill. All the other ones, they're low level. Look, yeast, mold, fungus, and candida, quit feeding them. And they go bye-bye. Okay? But that's okay, we'll give that to the next person. So, like I said, whatever you guys want to learn about a little bit, and parasites are very important to learn so you know how to navigate. That's all. You know they're there, you just don't really know that you have them until you see them. And then you go, whoa.
What's the itty-bitty brown ones?
Those could be a variety. You got hairworms. I pooped out probably 10,000 hairworms at one time. And I was taking different poisons too. Remember, I used to kill a lot of stuff inside my system. I found out that's not so good to do. Once we clean out a lot of things and we get rid of most of the critters that basically starve them out, then you can work on those ones that aren't going to leave you. No matter, you can pray all you want to, you can go ahead and not eat anymore. No, they're going to suck your blood whether you like it or not. They're already inside you. So there's, you're getting rid of the undesirables, the low-level peasants in your body. Just quit feeding them. That's what you're doing now. Once you get these other guys, okay, now you're going to start sending in oregano bombs in tarot-coated capsule with a little bit of, and you send it down into the small intestine. It goes through the stomach. Next one. Keeps going down a little further. So you'll see. You'll just be able to, like I said, everybody's going to bounce off each other, so you could go ahead and see what it's doing. And really, if you do have any problems with any of this, you can always go ahead and stop for a day. You can always decrease the dosage you're doing. Remember, it's all an experiment. If you feel like you don't want to do any of the protocols we're showing you, then don't. No one's forcing you to do anything. Okay?
What about the flukes? I was told they have flukes and pancreas.
Everybody's got liver flukes. Okay. Yeah. Everybody has them.
Kidney flukes.
Are flukes the ones that suck blood? Oh no.
Yeah, they're bloodsuckers.
There.
Yeah.
So
Anything that lives in your organ, basically, is living usually, like the ones that live in your intestinal tract, like little hookworms, they hook on to the intestinal tract, and it's only one cell thick, and they every time you eat, they feed, and a lot of times, even if you don't feed, they still feed. But they feed when you eat sugar, is because your blood tastes sweeter. It's time to eat. And then they don't move. They're stuck on this thing, and you're going to have to remove all that debris. They're stuck on the intestinal tract. You're boring a hole here. After a while, they bore a hole, and you get a leaky gut syndrome. Everybody here has some form of leaky gut syndrome. How do you got it? Usually it's parasitic. Usually it's inflammational. Whatever case may be, there's going to be a big rest for your intestinal tract, and then once your stomach feels like it can handle, these types of therapies, then you're just going to give it a try, and you'll see, how your body handles it. But most people, like I said, will be very effective on getting rid of very low levels, simple parasites by just fasting. And then you guys are here. Remember, it's the week beyond is when you can go ahead and start digging into the blood-sucking ones. Rope parasite, all your nematodes, all the different types of creatures that just drink blood. They don't care what you eat. They don't eat the blood that you eat. They eat yours. And this is why I see a lot of people, okay, even vegans, vegetarians, why are you so white and pasty? Okay? Maybe you're a little demineralized and denutrient, but no matter what, you got the parasites inside you still sucking blood. And once you get rid of those, then you wind up getting a new life. So anybody with chronic fatigue syndrome, you got a lot of things sucking your blood.
You can feel them.
You're just sucking your blood. They're drying you out. Your body makes 1 million red blood cells every second. That's what they say. I can only go by, research. Who knows if it's even real or not. But 1 million red blood cells a second is because a lot of the new red blood cells, as soon as they're born, just like fresh grass, something eats it right away. Bodies have to constantly make new red blood cells. And if you're not feeding yourself the correct nutrition, then how do you think your body's going to keep on making these things? This is where you get into this reverse chronic fatigue syndrome. And it's actually could lead to a lot of people with deeper problems than just not feeling like you want to get out of bed. How about killing yourself? Yeah, you don't feel good?
What type of parasites live in the lymphatics?
Who knows?
System?
Who knows what, parasites, remember, are unknown to most, we don't even know how a blade of grass works. How does this little tiny parasite that you eat an egg, it goes, the egg inside your body says, this person's maybe good for me, okay? It matricates itself, it turns into this little wiggly, tiny worm, boring a hole through your small intestine, going up one of the veins into the liver, making a house of babies in there. Remember, how does it know how to do this? Once it makes a house of babies there, this is the pig tapeworm, the beef tapeworm, the fish tapeworm, they all do the same thing. Then from there it goes back into your bloodstream again, this little stupid thing, okay, it doesn't have eyeballs or anything, goes in, and it now goes maybe to your heart and makes babies. And then it goes back into your bloodstream again, because it does this about 5 times around your body, goes into your brain now, goes into your gonads, and it owns you. It comes back to your lungs, you get this little thing called a cold, got a lot of snot coming up, you swallow one of those, and now it turns into this parasite that has teeth. And it's got its babies all around your body, controlling all of your physiology, very simply. So this is part of looking and understanding the life cycle of these demons. You can call them parasites, I call them demons now. And they live in the dark, and they suck your blood. Sounds like Dracula. Yeah, and they come out to play at night when you go to bed. They're not really feeding when you're running around during the day. They feed at night. After a especially when you want all that sugar before you go to bed. Blood tastes sweeter. Yeah.
Seemed like they eat. It used to, before I knew what was wrong with me, every time I ate, it's not right here would hurt.
Yeah.
It's like every time I ate, they ate. Like they came out of that knot and started eating.
Yeah, that's in your bone. And there's different types of therapies that you could work specifically on bone. There's different electrical machines that you could use to send in certain types of pulse waves in there to be able to put a lot of direct current pulse current into this area to go ahead and make it so whatever's here cannot go ahead and actually function within you, because it's like me slapping your face a bunch of times, okay? It doesn't hurt your body, but you're not going to be able to eat. You know, let me poke your eyes a few times too, okay? So it makes it so it can't go ahead and navigate too well inside you. And your body then maybe can go ahead and actually work on it. So every type of tumor, every type of parasite, everything has a protective coating over its body. That's why your body can't get to it. This is why parasites can't be seen in your body, because they ate part of you to become you, and now they're living inside you invisibly. They don't just come in. Remember, they have to go in and eat a part of you, and they become part of you. And that's why your body can't see them a lot of times either. So a lot of times, you know, you can get most of the parasites out of your system, like I said, the low-budget undesirables, just by stop eating. And if you start eating a bunch of crap again, you just get them right back, because they only come in your bodies because you're eating foods that they process. They're doing you a favor. They crap inside you, but they're doing you a favor from eating all the processed foods and all this garbage, okay? So it's the other parasites that basically are the ones that give rise to most of the other ones anyways, because they poop inside your system and cause the terrain to become acid and cause you now to get weak, cause you now to be immune system have a deficit in your immune system. So let's see.